Hello, hello, hello everybody, and welcome to Kobe's Classroom, the visual guide for the fight Arcadion Match 4 Savage. This guide was created using the strats currently being used in the Materia Party Finder. We're pretty set in these strats right now, but if anything major changes, I'll let you know. Now without further ado, it's time to take down Wicked Thunder. The fight begins with Wrath of Zeus, a raid wide. Heal, shield, and mitigate through this. Next, she'll create a set of wings and fly up to the north and start casting Bewitching Flight. She'll telegraph some lines from her wings that we need to avoid. At the same time, on the west side, there will be an Electrope cube at the front or back of every tile that will fire line AoEs. Avoid both lines. Her wings will leave some lines on the ground. When she starts using Electrifying Witch Hunt, some of these lines will start to erupt, either the three in the middle or the two on the outside. We also have some electric cubes on the east this time, and one in the middle column. We need to get into separate rows to avoid this. We do ranged, tank, melee healers from north to south, then avoid the lines and cubes. When everything goes off, all players of one role will be hit by a clone, giving a physical vuln up so they can't be hit by another clone, and a forked lightning debuff that will do an AoE around the player when it expires, but it won't deal any damage to the player themselves. Next up is Witch Hunt. She'll start showing either a purple or a pink symbol. If you've done another Mount Rockon, you'll remember this from Boss 3. If you haven't, then purple means she's going to attack the 4 furthest players, pink means she's going to attack the 4 closest players. We just need to avoid the remaining lines from the wings, and have the role that wasn't hit by the first clone's position to bait her attack. Here the supports were hit first and she's showing purple, so the DPS need to be the furthest away, so the melee DPS will just swap with the healers. The lines go off, the forked lightning expires, and the clone baits go off. Next up is Widening or Narrowing Witch Hunt. She's going to do 4 sets of AoEs and 4 sets of clone baits. If it's Widening Witch Hunt, she'll start with a point blank AoE, then an alternate donut, point blank, donut. If it's a Narrowing Witch Hunt, she'll start with a donut and then alternate. These AoEs always go right to the edge of the tile on the cardinal, and right through the middle of the waymark on the intercardinals. She's going to be showing a pink or purple again. This also alternates, so if it's pink first, it'll be pink, purple, pink, purple. Now to handle this, we're going to have the supports bait the clones first, and then the DPS. We'll have the tanks or melee DPS take the close baits, and the healers or ranged DPS take the far baits. So if it starts pink, we would do tanks, healers, melee, ranged. We need to handle the widening or narrowing at the same time as this. So we had a widening in pink, so we would start out and tanks bait closest. Then healers bait furthest. Then the melee bait. And then the ranged. You should try and give the 2 people baiting a bit more leeway for the baits when you can. So if you're a melee DPS and the tanks are baiting outside, move a bit further away just to ensure the tanks are the closest for their bait. I'll give another example of it just because this is one of those mechanics with a couple variations. So this is narrowing in pink, so it would be starting in and having tanks bait first. Then the healers are far. The melee are close, and then the ranged are far. And that's that. it's probably going to be one of the mechanics that's going to take you a few tries to really get it. We get another Wrath of Zeus, and then Electrope Edge. She's going to spawn an Electrope mine in each corner. Witch Gleam will fire 3 sets of lines at the mines. If a mine gets hit twice, it will make that corner unsafe for later. So we can see that northeast or southwest corner will be safe here, since they were only hit once. When I'm counting, I just keep track of the north 2, because you can solve everything else from just that information. Symphony Fantastique will arm the mines. She'll start casting Sideways Spark, which will eliminate one of the safe corners, and telegraph either a spread with 8 orbs around her, or pairs with 4 orbs. We move into the safe corner and do our spread. This spread is always done looking at the boss, so if we were northeast instead, it would be like this. So the mines, Sideways Spark, and spreads go off. If we had pairs instead, we would just do it like this. Wicked Jolt is a line AoE tank buster that hits twice. Just have your main tank invuln this. Next up is Electrope Edge 2. Everyone's going to get a debuff timer, either short at 20 seconds or long at 40 seconds. When these debuffs expire, the player will do an AoE on the tiles around them, like the Electrope mines did in the first Electrope Edge. So each player will need to keep track of the number of times they get hit. When resolving this as a long, I would recommend thinking as if you already started on one hit. You're going to get this hit later on, but if you think like you already have it at the start, it makes the mechanic a bit easier to solve in my opinion. We're all going to go to our clock spots, and Witch Gleam will fire 4 times at 4 people. Count your hits. At the end, we'll have a short and long 2 hit support in DPS, and a short and long 3 hit support in DPS. Lightning Cage will create this pattern of tiles on the arena. The side with the square in the middle safe will be our safe spot, and our new relative south. We're going to have the short players resolve their debuffs by having the short 2 hit players in the corners close to the safe spot, and the short 3 hit players in the corners far from the safe spot. Supports relative west, DPS relative east. Everyone else is in the safe spot, and everything goes off. We get another Sideways Spark with a spread or pairs. This is the mechanic that actually gives the long players their extra hit that they counted at the start. We're going to make the side she's cleaving relative north. If we have spreads, we're just going to go to these positions for full melee uptime. If we have pairs, we're going to use these positions in a T shape. The 2 hit players will be on the sides, the 3 hit players will be down the middle. Support with support, DPS with DPS. The Materia rating cheat sheet uses the words close and far, which just refers to the people who are close or far from the safe spot. It's the same thing, just whichever way is easier for you to think of it. I prefer the numbers. Afterwards, the long players will resolve their debuffs, safe spot relative south. Wicked Bolt is a party stat. You still need to heal, shield, and mitigate a bit, but don't use too much. We need a lot for our next mechanic, Ion Cluster. She's going to jump to the north and whip out her massive cannon. She's going to rotate a bit to one side. That's the side she's going to shoot at, and you can only take like 2 or 3 shots from this. Most people like standing on the nipple of the boss, the front arrow, so you should probably look at the arrows on the sides of her hitbox to see the rotation. Electron stream will show blue or yellow on either side of her cannon. You need to be hit by the color that's opposite your debuff, with tank standing the closest to take the most damage. Once the beams go off, everyone's going to get another debuff. Here's how we handle it. We have the support with the blue circle debuff stand on the front left screw of the tile looking at the boss, and the DPS with the blue circle debuff stand on the front right screw. The player with an arrow debuff will stand in the middle of the tile, usually a little bit forward to give the person just behind them a bit more room. And then the person with the large pink circle debuff will stand right behind the arrow person. You don't need to know what these debuffs are, but if you want to know, the blue circles are either a small point blank or a large donut, the arrows will hit the furthest or closest player, and the pink circle is a deformation that gets cleansed by being hit with an arrow. Alright, so we stand on our spots on each side, and then we just repeat the process 2 more times. Opposite color, debuff positions, opposite color, debuff positions. At the start of this mechanic, you can have your off-tank provoke, because at the end, we get a Wicked Jolt for them to invuln off the side of the arena. Now it's time for the transition to Phase 2. We're going to get into these melee and ranged pairs on intercardinals and get ready to dodge. On the third set of dodges, all players of one role will be hit with an AoE that gives them magic vulnerability. The other player in the pair needs to stand in front of them at the next dodge to block a line AoE. Afterwards, there's one more dodge. People will forget this, so try your best to remember. We come in for shields and healing, and then we do it all over again. Afterwards, we all gather south, heal, shield, and mit through 4 raid wides, and then we get knocked over to the Phase 2 platform. Alrighty, we're in phase 2 now. This begins with Crosstail Switch, which will do 8 heavy hitting raid wides. You should have your off tank use tank LB3 when the cast bar hits the S in Switch, and then heal and shield through this. Next up is Wicked Blaze, and we get a field of exit flares. This might look like a lot, but it's not. We're going to send Light Party 1 West and Light Party 2 East. If you look at the opposite side, you'll see one arrow pointing away from you. There's the spot we're going to dodge into. At the same time, the healers are going to get Light Party stacks. The AoEs for this are very large, so if you can't get into the safe spot immediately, don't worry. Alright. Wicked Special has 2 variations. This first one, she uses her claws to cleave the sides. Middle is safe. The other one, she uses her sword to cleave the middle. The sides are safe. Mustard Bomb will spawn 2 tethers. Have the tanks grab these and go to these spread positions. The tanks and 4 other people will be hit with AoEs that give fire vulnerability, and the tanks get Mustard Bomb debuffs. The 2 players that weren't hit are going to grab these off the tanks, and then they're going to explode. Ethereal Conversion also has 2 variations. She'll ready one arm, and then the other, with either Water or Fire Aether. This is the order that the attack will go off. If it's Water, we're going to get a knockback. Just take these directly straight across. If it's Fire, the arms will do circle AoEs. Dodge this at the front, and then hop over to the other side. The arms hit the red dots on the platform, so you can base your knockbacks around that. Azure Thunder is a raid wide that leaves us with a donut safe spot. We all group up in the middle to bait some AoEs, and some clones will spawn. 2 will spawn faster than the others. The clones are going to show sideways spark cleaves, dodge them after the baited AoEs. The other clones will finish spawning, and they're going to show their cleaves, and the boss will show a Wicked Special. Avoid both the cleaves and the Wicked Special. For Midnight Sabbath, we split into pairs. Each pair has an intercardinal and a cardinal position to look at. Some clones are going to spawn. These clones will have either wings or guns. If they have wings, they're going to do a donut AoE. If they have guns, they're going to do a line AoE. The boss will be casting either Scattered Burst or Concentrated Burst. If it's Scattered Burst, we have to spread first, then stack. If it's Concentrated Burst, we need to stack first and then spread. We get into position on our cardinal or intercardinal, depending on what the adds have, and do our stack or spread. The other adds will spawn and have guns or wings. we dodge appropriately, and do our other spread or stack. The rings that come down as the clones are spawning is the range of the donuts or the width of the gun beams, so you can use those to help you dodge. Afterwards, we get a Wicked Special, and then we get Wicked Thunder, a raid-wide. OMG, that's like her name or something, guys. We're going to get an ethereal conversion, which she will stock for later. Flame Slash will break the middle of the platform. We need to have Light Party 1 West, Light Party 2 East. Raining Swords will spawn some towers. We're going to soak these, tank, melee, healer ranged from north to south. These towers will be replaced with swords. The boss will tether to 3 of the swords with Chain Lightning, which will then jump across to the other side. You just need to keep track of the order of untethered swords on your side. Each sword will be untethered 1 time. At the end of the cast, the swords will explode in the order they were tethered, so just avoid in the pattern of the untethered swords. Once it ends, we get Tail Thrust, which will release the stocked ethereal conversion. We get another Mustard Bomb. Handle it exactly the same way as the first one. And then another stocked ethereal conversion into Azure Thunder. This will start what is kind of the last mechanic in the fight. There is one more, but it's not very hard. Ion Cluster will give everyone a debuff again. There will be some short 20-second timers and some long 30-second timers. The short players are going to bait cannons first. The long players are going to soak towers first. The DPS players will soak the north or east towers. The supports will soak the south or west towers. All the clones are going to spawn. The direction that the clones on the east and west are looking is where the towers will be, so the long players can position for that. Next, the cannons will start to show their colours. The DPS are going to take the first cannon clockwise that's opposite their debuff colour. The supports are going to take the first cannon counterclockwise that's opposite their debuff colour. To bait these cannons, they're going to stand in the middle of one of the inner edges of the waymark in front of their cannon, on the side that's closest to the towers. The cannons get baited, the towers go off, and then the cannons go off. We get a wicked special between the first and second set of cannons and towers. Then we just have the long debuff players bait the cannons, and the short debuff players soak the towers. The clones that point towards the towers will spawn where the first towers were. At the end, we get Tail Thrust, which releases the stocked Ethereal conversion. The last mechanic in the fight is Sword Quiver. The boss will slice the arena 4 times, dealing raid-wide damage. If the last slice is at the top, we're going to dodge like this. If it's in the middle, we're here. And if it's at the bottom, we're here. The slice lines will expand, and all players of one roll will be hit with some cleaves. And that's it. We get 3 sets of Sword Quiver, and then the Enrage, Wicked Thunder. And that's the whole fight. If you manage to clear, congratulations. If not, you'll get it next time. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment. If you liked this video, you can leave a like or subscribe. You can follow me on Twitch or Twitter at BigKobeLive, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.